In this video, I'd like to talk about constructing sinusoidal functions. And with these example problems, we will essentially be given information about our function, and we need to use that information to come up with an equation that represents the function. Or in other words, we need to find the formula for the function. So we can start by first making a little bit of room, and we can paste in a coordinate plane. So let me do that very quickly. And we're told that the graph of this sinusoidal function intersects its midline at the coordinate 0, -7, and then has a minimum point at pi over 4, comma, -9. So from this information, we can determine the formula for the function. So we can use this coordinate plane to help us get a visual of what's actually happening. Now let's start with this midline. We're told that the function intersects the midline at 0, -7. So if we go down 7 units to right here, this would be an intersection point of the midline. So we know the y value of the midline since we know the curve intersects the midline at this point, meaning that the midline, or the equation for the midline, is simply y is equal to -7. So it might help to construct that line so that we can use it as a guide. And again, this is just our midline, y is equal to -7. We know the actual function. We'll go through that. Let me use a different color for that. And we can also plot this minimum point at pi over 4, comma, -9, though we will need to decide on a scale to use. For the x-axis, the y-axis just counts by 1, but for the x-axis, let's count in multiples of pi over 4. So this will be pi over 2. We get 3 pi over 4. This will be pi, and so on. 2 pi will be all the way over here. And from this, we could plot this point. We know the minimum has an x value of pi over 4 and a y value at -9. So now we have a point that intersects the midline and a minimum point, meaning that we can roughly judge that our function should look something like that, though that's not a great drawing. And from here, the general approach is to use our general sinusoidal equation and use the information we have to figure out the amplitude, the midline, which we have, the period of the function, and whether or not we have any horizontal shifting. Though we will also need to determine whether or not to use the sine or the cosine. And to choose between sine or cosine, we need to just remember what happens when x is equal to 0 for the parent functions. Since remember that if we were dealing with the sine function, when x is equal to 0, the sine function goes through its midline. It also is equal to 0 there. And from there, it rises up, goes to its maximum, goes back to its minimum point. And actually, this would all be shifted a little bit. We would be at pi over 2 for the maximum, pi for the midline intersection, and so on. The curve will look something like this, though this is not plotted very accurately. But the general idea is that when x is equal to 0, the sine function actually goes through the origin. Whereas for the cosine, it has a maximum value when x is equal to 0, and then drops down to its midline intersection point at pi over 2, and at pi, it will go down to its minimum value. So looking at the information that we have, we know that when x is equal to 0, the graph goes through its midline, meaning that it makes more sense to use the sine function here. Though, if you want, you can actually put this in terms of the cosine. You would just have to shift the curve horizontally. And like I mentioned, we also need information on the general equation for a sinusoidal function. So we have y is equal to a multiplied by the sine of bx plus c, and then plus a d on the outside, where a deals with the amplitude of the function, b affects the period, c will shift the function left or right, and d will shift it up or down. Now, right away, we can determine what d and a are. Since d is just the vertical shift up or down, and it looks like we shifted everything down 7 units, Or in other words, we now know that d is equal to -7, and a is our amplitude. So the definition for amplitude, remember, is the distance from the midline to either a maximum or a minimum point. And we know that this point down here is at pi over 4 comma -9, and we know the midline has a y value of -7, so this distance right here, this amplitude, is 2, meaning that a is equal to 2, though we really need to be careful here since when looking at the amplitude, that is the absolute value of a. The amplitude is only concerned with that physical distance from the midline, but sometimes a is negative. In fact, if the function is reflected across this midline, then a would be a negative value. So what we really know from this is that the absolute value of a is equal to 2. And for us to determine if a is positive or negative, we need to consider whether or not this function is reflected. And in this case, it actually is, since for the sine function, if we look at its parent function, it starts by going through the midline and then going up to its maximum. But down here, it looks like we're going to a minimum, which would be a reflection of the normal sine function. So we can actually determine that a is less than 0, or it's a negative number. A is -2 since we have a reflection here. Now, we don't have any horizontal shifting since it is just like the parent function where it's going through this midline point when x is equal to 0. So we can assume that c is equal to 0. Now, at this point, we just need to determine what b is. And for that, we need to remember the formula for the period. The period is just twice pi over the absolute value of b. So if we can figure out the period, we can solve for whatever b is. And remember, for a normal sinusoidal curve, that it will go through one unique oscillation every 2 pi radians if we're looking at the parent function. So this right here, if I roughly sketch this in, this would be one period of our parent function. But the main takeaway from this is that if we go from a midline intersection point to one of the extrema, either the maximum or the minimum, this horizontal distance here from the midline to an extrema, this is 1/4 of the period. Meaning that this distance right here between these 2 points, this is 1/4 of the period. So if we can figure out that horizontal distance, we can then just multiply it by 4 to find the period. And we can, of course, do that. Our period here would be 4 multiplied by this horizontal distance, but this starts at 0 and this goes to pi over 4, so this distance is just pi over 4, meaning that our period is simply pi. And another way to figure this out is that there is this nice symmetry with our function. So if we go one step further, we can actually figure out another midline intersection point. Since again, we do have this nice symmetry. Every pi over 4 radians, we will go to another one of these key points with our specific curve. So the next key point, this next midline intersection point, would be at pi over 2 radians, and then we would go to a maximum after that at 3 pi over 4 radians, where the y value would be at -5, and then at pi we will come down to finish one period. So if we were actually graphing our curve, it would look something like this. This is just one period and then would repeat after that. So let's figure out the period now. We just plug in the information we know for the period, and we need to solve this for b. Now we can multiply each side by the absolute value of b and divide each side by pi so that we get the absolute value of b is 2 pi over pi, which would just be 2 here. Now we need to be careful since b could be either positive or negative. And if b was a negative number, this would create a reflection about this y-axis. Essentially, the graph would be reflected, so something like that. But that reflection, again, would be compared to the parent function, so really it would look something like that. And if we continued it on this side, that is actually what we're seeing. However, we would get that exact same reflection when A is negative. Since when A is negative, this reflects about the y-axis, and we would also end up with this curve. So for our purposes, only one of these has to be negative. If they're both negative, they will cancel each other out, and we would get the normal shape from the parent function, just compressed and shifted. But since we've already said that A would be negative, we can say that B is a positive number. So B in this case is just equal to 2. And from here we can write in our equation. Y, or f of x, this function, is equal to A, which is negative 2 multiplied by the sine of 2x plus 0 minus 7. Though, like I mentioned, if we also switched these, if A was positive and B was negative, we would have that f of x is twice the sine of minus 2x minus 7. And if you check these, you can use a graphing calculator and make sure that the two given points are actually on the curve. If you check these and plot both of these curves, you'll see that they are the exact same curve. So either of these work, and you can use these as your answer here.